Hey everybody, it's Ryan. Welcome back to How Farms Work. We're in the truck today. If you guys will remember, we went through and knocked down our third cutting of hay. Today we're going through and we are picking up the bales. So we knocked down the hay from a bunch of different fields around the farms, and it's time to just start moving stuff in because they are starting to call for rain tomorrow and the next day. So we'd like to get them off the field so that the hay can start growing back. And most of my hay is going to get wrapped. We've got 15 bales out, 17, 18 bales out in the 11 acres to bring in, and we've got hay out at the 40 of Dad's, which is straight across, basically right down the road from my place. And a lot of his hay is dry, so it's going to get put inside, whereas my stuff is all going to get wrapped. I tried making it dry. It's been sitting out for the better part of this week now, so hopefully it's had a chance to air out a little bit to prevent that layer of slime that you get on the outside of the wrapped bales. But I don't know, I'm looking forward to seeing how this hay turns out over the winter. Let's head over to the farm and start hauling in some bales. Optiwrap OWR 6000 in place now. We got it down as far as we can get it. It's not all the way down at the bottom, but these tubes actually come together. So they come down and it's kind of pinched down towards the end. Now, this tube over here is from earlier this year, and this tube is from last year. Something that you got to keep in mind is that this crop, we're not necessarily trying to keep the oxygen out of the tube. So that means that our tubes, in my opinion, can be shorter, but I'm also not going to be using end caps to keep the oxygen out because the material is already dry. We don't have to worry about it spoiling as much as we would if it was silage. And I used end caps on these other rows when I had them. What we did for the first few rows was we actually just put dry bales from last year on to try to keep the oxygen from going inside too far. And those are actually going to be some of the first ones that I feed out. And I'm looking forward to seeing how the material comes out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to load 2 bales up into the wrapper and I'm going to push them through. On the third bale, I'm going to start wrapping. The reason you want to do that is because that way there are 2 bales that are holding the tube in place so that the wrapper isn't pushing the tube, the wrap, on the ground out through and past the wrapper. So what you'll get is there's not enough weight to hold the wrapper since it uses a cylinder to push itself as you wrap. If it doesn't have any resistance against it, what it'll end up doing is that it can push the tube away from the wrapper instead of the tube pushing the wrapper forward. So if you get that, it makes sense once you see it, and it's very important that you do that because it can mess up the bottom of the wrap as it slides along the ground, and that's not something that you want to have happen because, well, the ground is one of the main spoilage points, especially for dry hay. So we're trying to keep the hay up off the ground, and we're trying to keep the rain off it. That's all we're trying to do here. That's as many as I feel comfortable stacking in here. The rest of these, I'm trying to debate on where I could put them. I don't really want to put them in front of this row because this is some of the first stuff I'd love to feed up because this is from last year. But I mean, I feel like they probably could fit in here if I wanted them to. I'm just worried about there being enough space to offset them enough so that I can get in here and pick away at them. Otherwise I got to drive all the way around, and that's hard on the ground. Okay. Come over here. Looks like this last bale tore off. I was having issues with the wrap that was on there. I used up both of the rolls that had cardboard cores, and we don't buy those anymore because when they sit outside or just even sitting in the garage, they collect moisture, and then they don't like to sit on top of the roll or the roll clamps. So I was having issues with it. One of the cardboard cores collapsed on the side and it cut the wrap, and that's how we ended up with this. But at least it's keeping the rain off the bales, which is all we're trying to do, so I don't think it'll hurt anything. All right, go ahead and write 3R2. Okay, and go back to the second bale and write dry. Okay, go down the third bale from the end and put an R on it. All right, we just got it all wrapped. I only put 4 layers on, which means that the bales themselves, where it's wrapped, are very fragile. So, I mean, it doesn't take much to tear them when there's only 4 wraps on them. Usually they say at minimum you want to put on 6, but since this is dry hay, all I'm really looking for is to shed the rain. Worked pretty good in the past, and that's what I'm gonna keep on doing for this one. So, right now I'm sitting at 220, don't quote me on this, but I think I'm sitting at 226 bales. And I'm sitting a little bit lower than what I would like to be. I'd like to be sitting at about 270, but we'll see how harsh this winter is. I might consider putting in some more hay ground next spring, but that's it for now. So anyway, that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out all of our other videos. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. All how farms work. Now it's time to go check on the cows. With that,
we'll see you next time.